y'all, it's Lisa. As you may or may not know, October is Blindness Awareness Month. And since it is still October, I felt compelled to tell you my story. Actually, it's a story that I've not felt comfortable in telling until just recently, and it's still a little challenging to get the words out, so here it goes. At 11 months of age, due to an accident and severe trauma to the head, resulting in a subdural hematoma, bleeding on the brain, several surgeries, optic nerve damage. One side is very damaged, which left me legally blind. Now, legally blind doesn't actually mean completely blind, like blackout blind. What it actually means, and people can't say, well, they can, but it's not actually accurate if you say I'm legally blind without my glasses. There is a technical definition of legally blind, and that is your central acuity vision of your better eye is less than 2200 or less with the best possible correction, and or field of vision of 20 degrees or less. That field of vision is what got me. Now, I don't know what I was thinking, but in high school I tried marching band with that field of vision, and inevitably, in the formation, if there was somebody out of line, it was me. I'm sorry, guys. Western Hills High School rocks. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm pretty much have no usable vision in my left eye. This does not mean that it's just black. It means I have light. I can see light. I can see dark. I can see your fingers if you hold them up right in front of my eye. Sometimes I can see that. It just means that it doesn't register on any of the ophthalmologist tests, and so it just doesn't, it's considered blind. Now my right eye has it going on. I only have tunnel vision in my right eye, thus the field of vision thing I was talking about earlier. It only means that I can only see straight out. I can't see peripherally on either side, and but I see pretty decently between 1 feet and 3 feet, and that's a good thing. It doesn't mean that it just stops at 3 feet 1 inch, that all of a sudden I can't see, it's black or whatever. What it means is that it just it starts to blur. It gets much more hazy and that sort of thing. Heavy contrast is my friend. I see very much better if there is a vast difference between whatever I'm looking at and the other. Say if I drop a white sheet of paper onto a dark flooring, well, I can, after bending over, I can spot it pretty quickly, and even making the others who are around me think that I actually can see it. If I drop a light piece of paper on a white or patterned floor, it's as good as lost, unless I actually get down and feel for it. And feel for it is what saves my skin. Now, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I talk with my hands a lot, and I feel with my hands a lot, and I pay good money to get my nails done a lot. So anyway, it's pretty funny, I think, if you watch me maybe fry chicken with my fingers or pare potatoes by feel. I think my family actually takes bets on whether I'm going to chop my finger off this time or not. But I have them all, so we're in good shape. So, what gets me the most, I think, is height. I am 6 feet tall, and I'm glad I'm 6 feet tall. I love every inch of it, but I can't see my feet, and I can't see the ground. Now, realistically, unless I was 3 feet tall, I couldn't see the ground anyway, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so not being able to see my feet has caused me to get into several ungraceful situations throughout my lifetime. A light ottoman in a flooring in my path that I won't see, or those yellow caution wet floor signs that I inevitably knock those things over. I can't even tell you how many of those I've knocked over in my lifetime. And there's those poles that are, I don't know why they're always in my path, but seem to be. Oh, and y'all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about those double doors, and they have the pole in the middle of them, the vertical pole in the middle of them, and the doors are wide open, which means, you know, you have plenty of room. No, I'm always going toward the middle of the things. My kids have made it a habit of running ahead and plastering themselves against that bar so that their mom doesn't knock herself silly in public. Once again, they have got it going on now, let me tell you what. Now, which reminds me of, there was one time that I was walking through a parking lot, and I was by myself, and I ran into this metal light pole harder than hard. I mean, you know, jarring my teeth and making my head rattle, and the pole was ringing, my head was ringing, and unwanted attention was coming out of the woodwork, and I wanted to find a hole and hide in it. But there are other times that maybe less painful situations, but more embarrassing. But I think others may enjoy this part, you know. Anyway, so on Sunday morning, as is often the case, I was bantering with someone. I can't help it, especially this particular someone. I think that Jay Bailey enjoys me giving him a hard time, and I like doing it, so I do it as often as I can. Well, this Sunday was no different. Except for the fact that I hadn't seen Jay in a few weeks, and for the guy, except for the fact this guy was sitting by him that I hadn't seen too often before either. Well, in order to give Jay the hardest time, to really, truly, you know, bug him, at this particular moment, whatever possessed me, I got up and went across the room to go give him a huge hug, which I absolutely know he does not want. That's the reason why I was giving it. Unfortunately, Jay wasn't the one who got the hug. I grabbed the wrong guy and gave him a huge hug. The poor guy, virtual strangers guy, just had this shocked expression on his face. The people in my class, and the tears were rolling down their face because they're laughing at me so hard. And I perfectly matched my red dress from head to toe. I don't get embarrassed very easily, but this absolutely did the trick. Now, reading is another one of my issues. In order to read, I had to pump up the magnification so much that the neighbors down the street are all in the know in the life and times of Lisa Langham. So that's all right, but sadly, that is the vision that I see going away the fastest. Last year, I had a magnifying glass, and I realized the magnification of the print didn't enable me to read it anymore, and I was devastated. But that was when I also was able to get out of the way and let God do His thing. So there was, you know, I can tell all these blind girl probs and stuff, and I even put some of these on my Facebook page, and I laugh at them, but that hasn't always been the case. Oftentimes growing up, I've spent most of my time growing up giving Academy Award worthy performances of faking what I could see and not telling them what I couldn't see. you know, you had these people and they say things, oh, the guy over there in the yellow shirt, well, just nod and smile, you know, you nod and smile, yeah, right, okay, Or when you walk in to ask where the bathroom is and the guy gives you an odd expression and says, you know, it's over there in the corner under the sign that says restrooms. Or when somebody hands you a piece of paper and says, sign here. Well, these are times that, a little harder times to fake, but I still managed to do it. You know, may go into the wrong place, but I would work it out. Sometimes though, I couldn't do it, and so I would just say, hey, you know, I left my glasses at home. Do you mind helping me here? Or something like that to avoid it, because I felt like if they knew how bad my vision really was, that I was going to get defined by the vision and not for who I am. I felt like if I was, you know, real and they knew how different I was, that I wouldn't get accepted. That I would just kind of be put into a different category than me. Anyway, there came a time that I felt I didn't know any other people that were visually impaired. And it wasn't until just recently that I have known anybody that is visually impaired. And I feel blessed to get to know people who are, because it's such a new thing for me that it just makes me excited. So anyway, I went through a hard time. Adolescence was a tough time for me. Besides being gawky and, you know, and tall and gangly and all kinds of other issues, it was a really tough time. At 16, when everybody was getting their driver's licenses, I wasn't getting a license, nor was there a long-term plan that I would ever get a license. And that kind of hurt, kind of was painful. Now, I could fake my way around that. There's a lot of people who don't get their license quite at 16, and, you know, maybe we were saving up for something or whatever. You know, I just managed I could slide by that one without too much trouble. But once college rolled around, I felt like something had to give. And this is when I came up with a story. And my story was that, you know, for whatever reason, I had my license revoked. Now, I never really told them why I had it revoked. I kind of let them, whoever them is, to use their imagination to fill that blank in. Now, I felt like I was more comfortable with them thinking poorly of my decision making than telling them the truth. Wasn't the most mature thing to do, nor the wisest, but it's what I did. And that's the way it was. And then dating. Oh, dating. Not a fun time in my life. There wasn't a big shortage of people to date, of guys to date, or dates themselves. That wasn't the issue, but it would take a special guy to really take me on, take everything that comes with me on. So anyway, that was a kind of a weird time in my life. I also had some issues at that time in my life. There was this one guy that I went out with one time. Here, maybe this will help explain. There's one guy I went out with. He's an Air Force student pilot, and we met. He asked me out. We went out, and he was cutie, sweet as can be. And so I thought. And we had a good time on the date. So I thought. A couple of days later, a friend of mine were visiting some of her friends, and this guy's name came up. They were going off on their buddy, this guy's mercy date with this blind girl. They didn't know it was me, nor did they know that I was blind. Ouch, it hurt. And my faith in guys at the point in time after that was a little bit, it wasn't so great. But hang on, there was a guy that shone brighter and shone forth brighter than all the other ones around. And this one actually worked really hard to try to understand what I could see and what I couldn't see, and was willing to take on what would come with marrying a girl with vision impairment, that I couldn't drive, that I may or may not be able to see a cobweb in a corner of my house, that I'm loud and I'm obnoxious. And I guess loud and obnoxious has nothing to do with vision, huh? Anyway, thanks for taking me on, Kelly. Anyway, as my family grew and grew and grew and grew, I have a lot of kids. As they grew, it was so cute. They'd start off, the little ones. They took on all kinds of needs that are unique to a person's family with visual impairment. And they were so precious when I would go walk in or wherever I was, and they'd say, "Step down, Mommy, step down. Step up, Mommy, step up." Or they count the stairs so I would know how many was ahead of me. And they were so aware and so helpful. It was just heartwarming. And even my dog, if I dropped something on the ground, my dog would come over and point and show me exactly where it landed. And there was all kinds of good, especially when, losing pacifiers and stuff like that. So that was extremely helpful. Now, as my family grew up, there were times that things changed a little bit. Vision changed a little bit. And I didn't really know why. And it didn't really change for the worse. It was just different. And I never could really put a finger on it. Now, there was this one time in February of 2014 of last year, I went to a retreat center in Round Top, Texas. And while there, for whatever reason, I left a seminar early, must have been around noon, to go, I don't even know for what reason. Now, back up for a second. I have to tell you, I have zero depth perception. If I look at a wall and there's different varying, maybe there's a shelf on the wall and the shelf has items on it and there's a picture above it or whatever. So you have this smattering of things up on this shelf. Well, to me, it looks as if it's all in one plane. It's all even, level. And that's how it is if I look at the ground. So if I look at the ground and I look at stairs and I look at flooring of whatever kind, it all looks as if it's on the same plane. Now, unless there's a shadow or if there's something else that maybe can indicate that, give me a clue, then that's what it looks like. Well, at midday, at the top of those stone steps in front of that retreat center, there was no shadow. There was no one around to ask for help. There was no railing that I saw. And it was then and there that I realized that I'm absolutely stuck. I couldn't fake my way out of this one. Now, granted, I could have sat down on my hiney and scooted myself down and done all kinds of, worked it out that way, but that wasn't going to happen. So, but it was also that right there at the top of the stairs was a big turning point in my life. Not only did I realize that my eyes had, yes, my vision had gotten worse, but I had also realized that I not only needed, but I wanted help. Now, growing up, my whole life growing up, I felt, or I was always under the impression that assistive things like aids or assistant whatever, that's for the blind. And since I was not blind, then I felt like none of that was for me. So when I got back from the retreat, we made an appointment with a neuro-ophthalmologist. And the neuro-ophthalmologist gave me some answers. I'm not sure if they were the answers that I needed, but they gave me some answers. And one of which was, yes, my vision had gotten worse. And yes, a white cane at this point would be beneficial to me. This is where it gets kind of a little odd. He said that I can buy the white cane online and I can watch a YouTube video to learn how to use it. Y'all, that's not how it works. And it's a crying shame that a profession in neuro-ophthalmology, a professional in neuro-ophthalmology would give that kind of advice to somebody who is seeking help. Well, despite his advice, or whatever you might want to call that, despite that, I did seek out. I'm hesitating here because there's a humongous story. I know this is long enough as it is, but there's a humongous story of all kinds of interesting and fascinating things that led to me getting together with this orientation and mobility specialist. This is where you would seek help in learning to get white cane trained certified and to find out about devices that may help in other aspects of your life. And so she not only enabled me, she taught me how to cross a street at a traffic light by myself, which I'd never done before, and I'm still, as you might be able to tell, pretty pumped about that. I think that's the coolest thing. She also told me about devices that would help me be able to read, and so I am able to do that now. The cane made a huge difference in my life and enabled me to get around and stuff. It opened up these doors that just excited me. Plus, you can decorate a cane with like glitter and beads and jewels. It's really pretty. But anyway, even with the glitter and the jewels and the red ball and all the other fun stuff that you can do, I felt like a leper wherever I went. I would start walking and it would be like parting the Red Sea wherever I went. People would, scatter to get out of the girl's way, and as I would walk by, they would stare at my eyes. I don't know what exactly they were trying to see, but as soon as they didn't see what they wanted to see, and they saw that my eyes looked normal, their whole stare changed, almost accusatory, like I was faking my right to use a white cane. Why anybody would do that, I have no idea, but it was kind of an interesting thing. But that's okay. That's all right. I was using, actually, the whole white cane concept was a means to an end. As I had said earlier, I did not think that I had any of the, I couldn't get any help because I had vision. But when I found out that I actually did qualify to get a guide dog, that is the reason why I started heading down the path of the white cane. I wanted a guide dog. I've been fascinated with guide dogs all my life. And I just, that is what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to get. I just knew that that was it. And so I got white cane certified. Then I applied to Guide Dogs for the Blind and was accepted there in December of that same year, 2014. And my class date was June 1st, 2015. And while there at class in California, I did get my dog, my first guide dog, Chapeau, and I got trained myself. And since that day, Chapeau has been my constant companion, as well as my guide. She's a beautiful cream-colored lab. She's so pretty. But anyway, I'm so excited to have her. And we're still learning together to become a team. But I'm excited about it. And now it's kind of odd. Wherever we go, I get asked 9 times out of 10, are you training that dog to give to some blind person? Or is that really a service dog? Now it says Guide Dogs for the Blind in big bold letters on her harness. But I think people say these things not because to be rude, but I think they really are, they don't really know what else to say. They almost feel like, since I stick out so much because I'm walking into a restaurant or whatever with a dog, I feel like they have to say something. But it's just me. It's just me. I like to tease, give you a hard time, expect it to come back at me. I may or may not see your hand when you extend it to shake my hand. I won't see your wave to return it. You don't have to speak louder to me. That's a funny thing. If you don't know English, you have to speak louder. If you all these other things, you have to speak louder. But I have selective hearing, but I do hear pretty well. And you don't have to be worried about words like see and look. I use them too. It's not going to hurt my feelings. It doesn't cause me any problems. And offering assistance to me is greatly accepted to me. If I need it, I will take your offer, and I greatly appreciate it. But now on the guide dogs, the funniest thing, well, it's not funny. It's just kind of sad. I don't know. It's just something I want to explain. Now, all the guide dog handlers I know, they have the same issue as I do. Seeing a dog anywhere makes you want to pet it. And that's okay. I get that. I understand that. And in reality, I think most people know that they aren't supposed to pet a service dog in a harness. But I think so often there are times when they don't understand why that is, and therefore they go ahead and do it. I just want to explain something really quick. Chapeau is my guide. She guides me. And Chapeau also loves people. I mean, she loves people. If you pet her while she's in her harness, not only will her tail go nodding to nothing, but she will also give you the biggest tongue bath you ever had. And it's sweet. And it's nice. And it makes you feel good when a dog does that, or at least for me. The problem with that being is that the next time I go somewhere, she's not looking to guide me. She's looking for that hand that's going to pet her. And I need her. If it's in an area that I really, really know, no, I don't need her so very much. I don't rely on her for everything. But if it's a dark or crowded or unfamiliar place, I rely on her. And I need her to be able to do her job. There's a very clear line in guide dogs between when they're working and when they're not. When that harness goes on, they go to work. When that harness comes off, chapeau, like everybody else. Well, not everybody else, because she'll turn into her almost 2-year-old puppy. She'll go crazy. But when that harness is on, I need her to work. And that's the reason why they really don't want, why it's so important not to pet a service dog. There have been occasions when we're not doing something when I will allow somebody to pet her. And just be sure to ask and expect them to say no. And if they don't, you know, that's a perk. Well, there it is. There's my story, y'all. Brings me pretty much up to date. I am looking forward to what's going to happen in the future. I so badly want to be used as a positive impact in people's lives. I want to, there's so many things that I just want to be able to speak up for the blind, and know how to best serve that community. So there it is. I hope y'all have a very wonderful rest of the day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.